Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, transforming the way people think and work so their organizations can thrive. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and with me today is Alan Berrey. Subject matter experts are the most valuable members of any organization. They establish vision, forge paths, create products, solve problems, sell customers, and cure ailments. Companies cannot prosper without these experts. Early in Alan's career, he recognized the influence of technical experts, and in the decades since, he has chronicled experts and discovered why some wield massive power and persuasion while others do not. He has summarized the influence of experts in his recent book, Beyond Expertise: How Trust, Vision, and Delivery Will Redefine Your Relationships with Your Customers and Colleagues. Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, Alan Berrey.
Thank you, Ed. It's very nice to talk with you finally. It's a pleasure.
Well, first off, Alan, why do you do what you do?
Oh, man. That's a loaded question. And just a couple of maybe one quick story. Actually, sort of set me on this path. Many decades ago, I found myself working at Ford Motor Company as a project manager on a large important project. And I was invited to present the status of this project to a bunch of executives. My director invited me in, said, Alan, tell everybody about the progress on this project. And I tried, and I got all these questions, and I was kind of surprised at how unable I was to answer questions, even though I knew I was very familiar with the technology and the project and the budgets. I just wasn't ready for that level of audience. And so I started watching from that point in my career decades ago on how some people who know a lot about a subject are influential and powerful, and others sort of seem to flounder when they're taken out of their tightly controlled technical realm. I then found myself working as a sales consultant, calling on companies. I then founded a few companies and was calling on companies myself, and I kept notes over the last 20 years on when I saw technical experts wielding their influence effectively and when some didn't do so well. And so after 20 years of taking notes, I finally decided to wrap it up with a bow and put it in a mechanism that someone else could consume. And so I'm glad that the book is finally out. It's 20 years in the making.
Well, tell us about the book. So Beyond Expertise: How Trust, Vision, and Delivery Will Redefine Your Relationships with Customers and Colleagues.
Yeah, there's this real problem that I saw when organizations call on their experts. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this question, hey, Alan, I've got a customer or a prospect, and they have some questions. I want you to come into a meeting and answer some of their questions. And in reality, that's not what my colleagues really wanted at all. They really didn't want me to answer all of the customers' questions, but it took me a long time before I discovered that what they really wanted the expert, the subject matter expert, to be in the meeting for was to do those three things: to establish trust with this organization or this individual, to determine what the mutual vision was between them and us, and then to make sure that we could actually deliver on that vision going forward. And so as I've presented this idea to many solution engineers and sales consultants, internal technical experts, it seems like this light goes on. No, you're absolutely right. It's not that they really want me to answer all the questions. And indeed, as you and I both know, often we can't answer all the questions. But if we can do those three things, right? Trust, vision, and delivery, then we're really delivering what technical experts need to do.
Drill down a little for me, if you will, on what you mean by developing the trust side of the equation.
Yeah, it's probably first and foremost in any sales setting, right? Where you're reaching out to a customer, trying to convince them that you can deliver on something, and candidly, if they don't trust that you can do something, then they'll never do it. They'll never do business with you. They'll never come back to you. And trust is a little bit more in a professional setting than it is in a personal setting, right? They have to believe more than just in you as a technical expert. They have to believe that an answer to their problem even exists at all. if they don't believe that an answer is out there for their problem, then it doesn't matter who you are, right? So first, they have to believe that there is an answer to their problem. And then you have to set yourself up as a viable delivery mechanism of the answer to that problem. So trust is really intricate for technical experts in a professional setting, and it's a little bit more than just saying that I'm trustworthy, right? There's a lot more to it than that.
So what about this, the notion of actually developing with the customer what the value of the problem actually is? Because oftentimes customers might say, "Hey, we've got this problem," but they really don't even know what the evidence is that they have a problem or what would happen even if they solve it.
Yeah, that's actually where I spend quite a bit of time in the book talking about what really is a mutual vision. What do you see the problem to be, and what do I see the problem to be? And that's where experts spend a bulk of their time, right? Once I establish some camaraderie and some trust, and they believe that maybe I can help them, what is it really that we need to deliver on, right? There's dozens of examples of this, but one of them is that oftentimes customers kind of come into a conversation expecting one thing, and a proper expert will actually guide them towards something that might be fundamentally different, right? But if you can establish that trust and you can actually identify what it is that they need, then it's a lot easier to guide them to something that might be a little bit off of where they started from. It's been many times in my career where the customer thinks they want one thing, but at the end of the day, something slightly different would be beneficial to both of us simultaneously.
And Alan, we have an exit question that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is a hero of yours and why are they a hero?
Yeah, that's a good one, but I would have to answer that as Anders Ericsson. Maybe not a super popular figure, but in the area of expertise and expert performance, Anders Ericsson was probably one of the preeminent researchers in the subject, right? He taught at Carnegie Mellon University, and he spent the bulk of his career at Florida State University. And one of the reasons that he's one of my heroes is not only did he break a lot of ground in researching and expertise, but he also spent appropriate time with people who were in the field, right? I was honored to be able to speak with him a few times about my work. And unfortunately, he passed away last year. And I think the entire world of expertise and expert performance lost a great asset in his untimely death last year. But I was fortunate to be able to meet with him and talk with him about this subject a little bit before his passing.
And lastly, Alan, how can somebody contact you?
Yeah, you can see me at expertdig.com, and we love to tailor our solution to corporate organizations who lean on their technical experts for differentiation and growth in the market.
All right, Alan Berrey, the book is Beyond Expertise, How Trust, Vision, and Delivery Will Redefine Your Relationships with Customers and Colleagues. Thanks so much for being a guest on the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.
Thank you, Ed.
Review and subscribe by searching your podcast player of choice for Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.